Good evening, everybody. Welcome to PlayStation Gaming League's PSGL F3 for another round of Season 26, round one of the Championship, and it is around the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. My name is Luke Etheridge, and I'll be taking you through the entire of F3 with PSGL Season 26 race winner Sam Thompson. How are you doing, Sam?
Thank you for the introduction, and I'm really happy. I'm really stoked about this track, especially after yesterday, of course. But this is a really interesting track, in my opinion. It's very short. Mistakes will cost you a lot, and it's one of the most trickiest tracks, arguably on the. It's strange how you look at it. In terms of qualifying, it's a very tricky track because any mistakes means that you probably lose like half the grid positions, and it's a difficult track, but I don't really know. I'm a bit stoked, sorry.
Yeah, like you said, because it is such a short track, any mistakes in qualifying are exemplified. Track limits can easily be punished around here, especially turn 1 and turn 9 and 8. So it's quite a popular track, I find, amongst the drivers. Plenty of overtaking opportunities around the 10 corners, partly down to the fact that there's 3 DRS zones. The entire first sector is a DRS zone, basically.
Yeah, it is, and I think the team game works really profitable here. Yesterday I played the team game with my teammate. We got a 1-2 in the end, but obviously in qualifying you can no longer slipstream now. So if you had that plans, then you better chuck them out the window because obviously you'll get penalised for it. However, in the race you could definitely use that to your advantage, and it's so important to have you and your teammate together around this track because DRS is going to be, it's everywhere on this track basically, and when you're in it, you're in a train, and if it's you and your teammate working together, you could just slipstream each other, get by each other and keep working together and building an advantage ahead of everyone else. We didn't exactly do that yesterday, but we still got the 1-2 because we stuck near each other and we really helped each other out, and we drove forward and kept getting quicker on the laps, and well, we got the 1-2 in the end, so it was brilliant. But it's going to be so crucial because this track is quite small, and like you said, DRS is everywhere. It's basically just DRS trains, and overtakes will be crucial for some people, especially when we get to the crossover point.
Yeah, most definitely. We were going to go for a hot lap with Lars, but he has invalidated instantly, so unfortunately for him, he'll be backing off, trying to get a bit more fuel saved. So we'll go on board then with Calzo. He was a reserve. He's taken Will's slot in the racing point. If you're watching the pre-season race, you will have seen Will win that around Mexico, and he's been promoted into F2. Calzo doing a much better job than Lars of keeping it clean through turn 1. Turn 2 is not really a corner. It's just that slight left kink and then hard on the brakes, heading down now towards turn 3. Very easy to lose the rear end on exit and on entry there because of the uphill nature of the corner. The third DRS zone on the track is this long run down to turn 4 where the tricky downhill braking zone, if you just brake a fraction too late, you could easily run very wide, perhaps even run off into the gravel trap. Flat through 5 and then 6, 7 and 8. You can easily see your cars trying to go side by side through here. This is a part of the track where you really need the downforce working on the car. That's 7, that is 8. Heading underneath the Fanatec sign, you can't cross over the pit entry line, otherwise you will get a 5-second penalty while you're trying to enter the pits. Calzo keeps it clean through 9 and 10, not leaving much to chance with that final curve. Comes across the line for a 103.172. Fruitful is fastest at the moment with a 102.821. We will expect the track to improve. F4 pole position was a 102.7, F2 was a 102.3, so judging by that, anywhere around 102.4, 102.5 should put you in good stead to get pole position here.
Yeah, and I was on board with Calzo's lap alongside you, and I was just really looking at the final corner. He could have used so much more curb there, and that probably lost him a decent half a tenth or something potentially from doing that. He probably could have thrown the car in a bit better, but yeah, it's a decent lap from Calzo, and it is only a banker. He's not going to fuss about it, and he'll know where he needs to improve because he can see the sector times. But I mean, the first banker lap we've got from Fruitful is a 2.8, which is our current leader. That's a good start from Fruitful and a good show for the F3 drivers to beat. And I think those who are still in the pits and who didn't make a lap, they'll be looking at that and seeing like they could, and thinking about mirroring, if not beating that now, as the track does warm up.
Yeah, most definitely. Fruitful did very well last week. Crossed the line in second place. Unfortunately for him, penalties knocked him further down in the Alpha Tower. We've just seen Cherry Tupai go into second with a 102.967. He was a driver who had a very mixed pre-season race, I think it's fair to say. Had that sort of innocuous looking spin in the early stages, managed to come through extremely well to get on the podium and set the fastest lap. So possibly, he was in F2 last year as a reserve. You could possibly say he's one of the pre-season favourites.
Well, yeah, he very well driven in that Mexico race. Obviously had that spin, but recovered brilliantly to take P3 in the end. But, I mean, that's where the experience lies at the end of the day, as well, with both him and Pit Matt. Both been in PSGL for a long time, been in league racing for a really long time. So they've had that experience. They've probably been through a lot of different scenarios together, and that's probably where it's come from with Cherry Tupai. He's probably learned how to become really consistent on his laps, and it's quite crucial in terms of race pace. He's probably got that fixed right now, and I guess that experience is a good advantage towards him, and he's got the pace it shows at the moment, so you know he could potentially be on for a championship favourite, like you said.
Yeah, definitely, and the important thing is he knows he's been around for so long. It's not how you start the season, it's how you finish it, as someone appears to have wiped out one of the brake marker boards there on the way down to turn 4, which I'm sure will have pleased everyone. The season does start here in Austria, moving on to Hungary, Great Britain, Spain. 14 races in total. We finish in the Americas with Canada, USA and Brazil. That will be the final F3 race of the season on the 10th of November. Make sure not to miss that. We are on board with Lars in the black Mercedes, and he's just invalidated towards the end of that lap. I think he's just going to go flat out to see what he could have done. A 102.885 would have put him in second place, but that's a second attempt he's had at setting a hot lap. Second time he's invalidated. Thankfully, with it being a short track around Austria, you do get plenty of chances in qualifying.
Yeah, but Lars, I think it was not really a representative lap time. He also went a bit wide at the last corner, so he gained a little bit more time from there. I just want to go back to what you said. Someone's took out the braking markers. It's a bit disappointing because some people do run no assist here. That would be Toxic who did that. I'm pretty sure he went very, very wide in the corner here. So yeah, unfortunately for those who are running no assist, a little bit of disadvantage in this session, but I don't think they're going to fuss too much.
Yeah, the only assist you are allowed in F3 is a line. That's the same as F2. F1 is, of course, the no assist here, and that is just starting now at the moment. We've got quite a few drivers heading back to the pit. Who is out on a hot lap at the moment? Let's see Kausper come across the finish line in the McLaren, and he goes fastest with a 102.688. That is more like it. Further back, I think we've had a Racing Point go off circuit. That is Calzo coming through turn 4 and 5. He has spun in the Racing Point, so he'll be trying to recover. Currently in that 10th place, and it's very important if you're in the top 10, of course, then you have to start on the tyres that you set your fastest lap on in qualifying. With 10 minutes to go, it's Kalsper on provisional pole position, followed by Fruitful, Sherry Tupai and Jesper Barneveld. Actually, Haas looking good at the moment. They're 4th and 5th. Alfa Romeo looking pretty decent as well, 6th and 7th.
Yeah, and I'm just on board with Hypes. He's just invalidated his lap. But yeah, we saw the Hasses last week. They were both quite disappointing. I think both of them obviously didn't get in the points, but there's no points for pre-season. But they were quite disappointing in the race, and I think one of them actually got disqualified. I'm not sure if it was one of the Hasses, but someone got disqualified from there, and I think it was Jesper. So that's going to be a bit of a threat for him. But 5th and 6th right now for them. They would take that any day at the moment. And the grid is very, very close in all these tiers, and I have to that's obviously incredible to see how close some of the grids are. You've got to think the top 13 is separated by half a second alone, and we've got Black Phoenix 5 tenths behind them, but I'm sure Black Phoenix is yet to set a proper lap time, and he probably made a lot of mistakes in his lap. Very close to gaps, and look how close Eclipse and Kalsper is, and we've completely forgot that Eclipse has just gone pole there, so that's very close between the two up front.
Yeah, well done from Eclipse there. He has gone fastest at the moment. Pitmat looks as though he's on a better lap, currently in 12th place, and that's what you said about being close. He's less than a 10th off of 8th position. This is how close it could be in this qualifying session 1. Just running wide, braking a metre too late could easily cost you. Pitmat just looking at the front right there on his way round turn 4. Gets away with it though, locking that inside front tyre. Not usually a problem, and he's still made the apex. Let's see how he's doing through sector 2. Again, he's 57 thousandths up, so this will move him into the top 10 for the Renault team. Get both Renaults up towards the top 10. See how Pitmat does now. Round the final corner. Again, getting a bit more aggressive. One wheel fully over the curb, but you can get away with that. And it was a good final sector from Pitmat into the 1 minute 2s. Barely. Look at that. 3 thousandths slower than Jesper Barneveld.
Yeah, good lap. You've got to think he's on older tyres, though, as most people would want to get those off and set a better lap on fresher tyres, really. The tyre advantage on this game seems to be more crucial. I had some people asking me yesterday, is it soft medium or soft hard? And it's a bit of a lottery, really. I did the soft medium and I was fine, but a lot of people, it just depends on your, depends on what setup you have on. With that, some people went the soft hards and favoured better than the soft mediums in the end, and then others just fared off with the soft mediums. But I think for Pitmat, he would want to set a better time, and it's the same with Jesper as well, who's just finished his lap there. They would both want to be on better tyres for the start, and if so, they would have to set new lap times, or obviously drop outside the top 10.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they do. Toxic invalidated around the final corner, so he stays at the bottom, and Lars has done exactly the same thing. Now, I said they had plenty of time to set a time in qualifying. They nearly had 2/3 of a session, so this is where it starts to get a bit nervous for these guys. Still should have plenty of time, and of course there's plenty of time for this season to determine who is going to be the F3 champion, and thanks to PSGL's partners, Brutal Democracy, you will earn yourself a nice £20 for being the champion here in F3. So there's that tiny bit perhaps of added extra pressure towards the end of the season, knowing there's a bit of money on the line.
Well, obviously, maybe not at this stage. You'd expect it to be less pressurising because you're unaware of where you are on the grid. However, you see that, you're like, that money's mine. But when you say those words, you just put pressure on yourself. So I'm wondering if that is what some of these drivers have been thinking, especially Lars may have been thinking. They may be thinking, this money is going to be mine, this tier is easy for me, and I can win this tier. We've had it with a bunch of guys in F3 actually. I'm not going to mention any names at all, but a bunch of guys have definitely said that they should not be in this tier and they should be higher. Well, this is the way to prove it, and obviously if you are too quick, then you're going to win the money, but if you're not, and you're not consistent enough, then you're not. So it just depends on that, really.
Yeah, it does depend. We've just seen... Ooh, actually, I went on board there with Koala, who was spun coming out of turn 4. That does seem to be proving tricky for some of the drivers. Now going on board with Decky, one of 2 reserves we've got racing here tonight. He is in the Mercedes, as you can see, replacing Cohen, and we've also got S. Vanderberg. He is the sole Ferrari driver tonight, so I hope we're trying to put in a good performance for the Scuderia, and Decky 1/10 up on his personal best at the moment. Seems pretty strange with 5 minutes to go in a qualifying session to see the Mercedes 13th and 16th at the moment, but I'm sure they're not going to end the session that way as Decky comes towards the finish line. He's taking no chances with that final corner curve and moves up to 12th position there, still just outside the top 10. Black Phoenix currently in 11th, and Black Phoenix and his teammate Bugatti, who isn't here tonight, they were 1-2 last season in F2, but judging by the pre-season race, they're not going to find it quite as easy this year in F3.
I think it's just adjusted to the game. They've failed to do that over other drivers, and perhaps they just don't have a liking to some of the tracks so far. But I mean, you could dislike Mexico, but when you dislike 2 tracks in a row, you know there's some sort of problem. And as we see a clip spin and into the wall there. So the pole sitter will have to come into the pits, as it looks like, if he can make it to the pits. But you have people that have preference over some tracks, and then they have preference over other tracks. But it's a little concerning when you have 2 tracks in a row which you dislike. And let's be honest, Mexico and Austria are 2 completely different tracks. I mean, Austria doesn't have like the chicanes that you get usually around Mexico, and like the twisty corners. You don't really see that with Austria. It's a little bit more open than what Mexico is, and I mean, so far I don't really want to make early predictions, but I think they will struggle for the early part of the season. But progression is key, and I think obviously if you're a champion or a runner-up, you have that progression and you can show that progression. So Black Phoenix may be a little bit of a problem for those fighting for the championship towards the end if he does pull out the results later in the season. But he's still got obviously the early races to go, but it's not really looking great for the Williams driver.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking as though he's absolutely miles off. That's how close F3 is at the moment. He's just over 3/10 off of provisional pole position with 3 minutes to go. Unfortunately for him, that's only good enough for 11th. 2 thousandths ahead of him still is Pit Matt, and he's just invalidated his lap, following in the footsteps of Jesper Barneveld not too long ago. So Pit Matt should have enough time to get into the pits, as he's right next to the pit lane, and if he's got enough fuel, he might even go for another lap, and it looks like he is doing that. Toxic's got up to 3rd position at the moment on a 102.3726, so the McLaren's looking very good. The thing is, that's on 3-lap old soft tyres. I'm not sure you'd want to be starting the race on those, but he's not really going to have a choice.
Soft hard? I mean, it could work, soft hards. You could probably take them around 9-10 laps and then they're gone, pretty much, but I don't really know if that was the right thing to do for Toxic. I'm not sure if he does have any more softs available to him. Some people decide to go with the balance setup. I went for the softer, everyone else probably went for the softer as well. No point using the mediums on it, so either Toxic's ran out of softs or he just wants to see what his pace is like in a consistent sense. He does not have enough time though, unfortunately, to probably get into the pits and put on another set of softs, so that will be his lap confirmed. How close he was to getting that pole position on 3-lap old softs. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's very close indeed. We just see Geordie. That time would have been good enough for 4th position. Unfortunately for him, he invalidated, so he stays down in 14th. As long as he's got enough fuel, he should have time for another go. And there we go, confirmation. Toxic. It's over for him in this session. We'll have a look now who we've got coming towards the finish line. Cherry Tupai in Sector 2. Pit Matt stays in 11th. It's getting right very close now towards the end of this session. Calzo is in 5th. Ginger 6th. Cyril, he invalidated his lap, so he was unable to improve. Black Phoenix, that's more what we expected from last year's F2 runner-up. He is in 6th position. Fruitful has invalidated, but he's got enough time to set another lap, as Hypes, his teammate, takes provisional pole position with a 102.645. 40 seconds remaining. He'll be very happy with that indeed. Kalsper, though, taking it straight off him in the McLaren with a 102.571. Now they're starting to push the boat out a bit more, and we're seeing what these F3 drivers can do.
Well, here we go. Koala's come around the final few corners. We'll get the final drivers across the line now, or people starting their laps at least now. Koala's gone and invalidated for the final corner. What time would it have been? It would have been a 3-0. Not really a great time, really, from him. He'll go again, though, I reckon. In fact, I don't think he can go again. Geordie retires. There's nothing more he can do. He's left it at 15th. Pit Matt as well has gone. We talked about Cherry Tupai. He's down in 12th at the moment, so the track's heated up enough, and they've all fallen down the order. Who else have we got next across? We should have an Alpha Tauri, or is he invalidated? That could be Fruitful.
It is Fruitful, and he goes up into second. 102.601. Eclipse just behind. His lap was invalidated, so he was unable to improve. Who else have we got coming around the final corners now? Cherry Tupai, he's invalidated. 12th will be the best for him. Jesper Barneveld, he's had enough. So a few of these drivers do look to be struggling. Decky's currently in 15th. This would be a miracle for him. And again, he invalidates coming around the final corner. Such a shame for him. Vandenberg in the pits. Koala following him in as well. And I think that might well be that. Calzo's pushing at the moment, but he's just coming back in towards the pit. So that is the end of it. Kalsper on pole position, followed very closely by the 2 Alpha Tauris. And just look at that, the entire 17-car field, 0.61 seconds separating them.
That's incredible. The entire top 10 as well, separated by less than 4 attempts. never really see that usually, and this is how close these grids are. Like, I think it's going to be well unpredictable. A track like this is very open. There's a lot more overtaking opportunities than, say, Mexico, which we had last week, and overtakes can be made so easily around this track. You've got turn 1, of course, which you can make an overtake, not really necessary. You've obviously got turn 3 there, which you can send moves down there nice and easy. I was able to do that yesterday. Turn 4, you can send it down the inside. You can even go around the outside if you have enough momentum. I had that done to me on Dark Bolts, which was foolish of me. But there's a lot of overtaking opportunities, especially in the first half, and I think we're in for a really, really juicy race here, and I'm really intrigued to see what the people outside the top 10 do in terms of tyre strategy as well.
Yeah, most definitely. So there we go. Kalsper on pole for 2 AlphaTauri, 2nd and 3rd Eclipse, 4th Toxic. Did manage to get a clean lap to get 5th, as did Lars for 6th. Calzo as a full-time driver, he is now 7th. Black Phoenix 8th, Ginger 9th, Vanderburg is in 10th. Cyril will be the first driver to have free choice of tyres in 11th. Cherry Tupai, surprised to see him down in 12th. Jesper Bardeveld, Pit Matt, Decky, Geordie and Koala rounding out the grid. Given how close it is, it'd be very brave of either one of us to make a prediction. But Sam, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you expect to win this race?
Oh, I don't know. This is just very difficult. I'm going to look at last week, and I'm going to be honest with you, I really favour Kalsper to do bits in this race. He did really well last race, and I think he was unfortunate not to win, because of course Will was just flying in that race, let's be honest. But he's no longer here, so he's got nothing to worry about. We've got Cherry Tupai down in 12th, but he was actually quite low down in qualifying, I believe, in Mexico as well. I cannot entirely remember where he started, but he had that spin as well, and he made it to P3. So if we do get some sort of safety car or virtual safety car or some sort of moment where he could make a pit stop like that, he could be really in contention of at least a podium. I dare say to win, but I think Kalsper's in good hands. I do think both the McLarens will work strong together, and same with the AlphaTauris as well. We saw Fruitful as well in the mix. He's a very quick driver. Lars as well has obviously ambitions to win this tier, as all of these drivers do, but Lars has been quite vocal about that as well. About winning this tier, but Kalsper, Fruitful, Hypes as well. I haven't seen much of LR Hypes this season. Well, we haven't seen much of him this season, but I haven't really seen much of him at all. So I'm quite intrigued to see how he does as well. We've got Kalzo, of course, now in this tier, stepping up to replace Will from reserve. All these drivers have a chance of winning, and of course, let's not forget Black Phoenix, finished second last season in F2. He has that experience to win. He has that experience to make the moves where it counts and everything like that, so he can still win this race. It could be anyone's on this grid.
Yeah, you just saw the strategies flash up at the bottom of the screen there. Soft to medium, soft to hard. What you'd be expecting all of the top 10 do, as we do look now.
Hypes has spun it on the formation lap.
Well, thankfully you can't damage your car on the formation lap, as Vanderburg goes off in sympathy as well. 10 out of 10 for synchronisation there, I must say. We go now have a look at the tyres that everyone is on. We knew what the top 10 were on. Cyril and Pitmat on the mediums, Cherry Tupai, Decky, Koala on the hards, Jesper Bardeveld and Geordie on the soft. So very mixed outside of the top 10. There's some more tyre strategies there. A bit about the Red Bull ring then before we start. It was originally built as the Österreich ring to replace the Zeltweg airfield circuit, which is just a few hundred yards actually from here. It was used in F1 then until 1987, when it got shortened, renamed the A1 ring and returned in 1997. Then after 7 years there, closed down, Red Bull took it over and was reintroduced to Formula 1 in 2014. I think it's fair to say it's had its fair share of exciting races over the years, and hopefully PSGL F3 will be able to provide another one tonight, as we're coming up now at the end of the formation lap. Kalsper is there just pulling in to his grid stop. Koala will be the final driver. He's hoping to go long on those hard tyres and to see what he can do in the Red Bull. Just 0.61 seconds off pole position, and it's down in 17th for the Red Bull driver. The lights then are coming on here in Austria, and we are underway. Kalsper getting away pretty well. Fruitful having a decent start alongside him in the Alpha Tauri. His teammate Hypes had a bit of a slow getaway there in Eclipse, looking to get down the inside, but no changes there for the front few drivers, as Fruitful already right underneath the slipstream of Kalsper. Kalsper's going to be having to go defensive perhaps already into turn 3, decides not to bother. Fruitful trying to go down the inside, and he gets that move done, so it's now Fruitful in the lead. Kalsper just getting pushed slightly wide there. That shoved him over the curb and might give Hypes a chance to move up a position. It looks like everyone has got through the first few corners cleanly. Cherry 2Pie moving up a couple of places in the early stages. Lars dropping 3 places. Jesper Barneveld having the worst start, dropping 4. Initially, it seemed as though Kalsper and Fruitful got away pretty evenly, but Fruitful maybe just having a bit more straight line speed with the way he used the slipstream there as Eclipse and Hypes now going side by side through turn 8. They'll be side by side again through turn 9. Hypes has got the inside line, so you'd expect him to have the place, although Eclipse is slightly ahead and just makes it straight. Great move from the Racing Point driver on lap 1. It looks like Toxic's going to have a go at the Alpha Tauri as well.
Yeah, very good start from everyone. There was a few issues at the back. We had a sliding Racing Point, I think, of Calzo, obviously, there. We've also had someone leave. Is it Kalsper who's left there? No, we've got a glitch at the moment for the front runners. It's really annoying. This is I don't know who is leading now. There was a bit of a debris also as well. I think that was from Jesper initially. I think there was a bit of argy-bargy at the back, and that caused Jesper to get that damage. He's now coming to the pits and replaced his sauce with the hearts. Will he figure out a 2-stop? I reckon so. I can't really see him taking those hards all the way to the end, but I mean, we've seen drivers do the miracle things, and maybe Jesper's on for doing that.
Yeah, Jesper might even be hoping for the safety car. This first few laps really hasn't gone well for Hypes. He now finds himself down in 6th place. He's been passed by Black Phoenix on this lap and now passed by Ginger, and it looks like Toxic might be having a look at him as well. So wouldn't surprise me if the Alpha Tauri could be one of the first drivers to pit, because it doesn't look as though he's enjoying these soft tyres at the moment. We are on lap 3 now. They will get to use DRS down the next straight. And there we go. They've got it open at the moment. Kalsper trying to close up to Fruitful. He's not going to be close enough to have a look into turn 3. Might think about it into turn 4. And this could probably help Eclipse as well, obviously, just getting DRS just to stay in range of these two drivers, because he doesn't have to worry about anyone behind, seeing as Black Phoenix is currently 1.4 seconds further back.
Yeah, he's just going to be sitting behind these two now. He's going to be hopeful that one of them makes a mistake here, and obviously with them going so close, they're going to be at it hammer and tongs, trying to switch positions through the corners, and a mistake could be imminent, and mistakes could really change the order, and Eclipse here will just be sitting behind. He'll be taking things quite slowly. He won't be rushing too much to get involved with the two leaders, unless obviously he has to, but right now he's just gonna chill right now, and he's just going to enjoy that 3rd place. I just want to mention about Black Phoenix, so he's already up to 4th here, and I said before this race, I think he has got that winning spirit, obviously from last season being runner-up in F2. He is experienced of winning races in PSGL in recent sense, and although he is behind, he's made the moves on the people when it's necessarily needed, and just maybe if he can close that gap to Eclipse, he could be putting pressure on the top 3.
Yeah, we've had a yellow flag. Jesper Barneveld has gone off big style by the looks of things at the final corner, and we have a safety car. So I said he might be the man to benefit from that. He's actually the man who has caused it. A safety car then for these guys. Hypes has actually... Black Phoenix has gone around. Black Phoenix has spun it. And he's going to drop way down the order. All that hard work gone in an instant. I don't know whether he just got caught out by the safety car coming out. He drops down to 10th position. Now, are we going to see anyone go for a very early pit stop? Yeah.
Fruitful. He's going for it.
Kalsper staying out.
For him. It'll be soft tough for him, and everyone else looks to be staying out. It looks to be there's a bunch of guys towards the back coming in. Lars, Black Phoenix, Calzo. I expect Black Phoenix to come in after spinning. You obviously probably didn't like those tyres after that. They'll be very hot. But a bunch of drivers opting to stay out. This is going to be interesting now, because I believe the hards can make it to the end if you do pit on lap 6, but of course they will be very worn at the end here, but it's a risk that Carlsberg, Eclipse, Ginger, etc. have taken to stay on the soft tyres, and considering that Lars, Calzo, Black Phoenix, Koala, and I suppose most of the other guys as well, Fruitful as well, let's not forget him, they've all opted for an early stop. Koala opted for an early stop to the mediums, which is, I doubt that would work, but the other 4 look to be in good contention here. So although Black Phoenix did spin, I think he'll be in good spirit after coming into the pit stop and maybe taking a piss.
Yeah, definitely. So they've gone for the hard tyres. Under the safety car, the wear on the tyres is about a half. So 2 laps under the safety car equates to about 1 lap of normal running, as Ginger gets a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Hypes, and given how trigger happy the stewards are with penalties under the safety car, there we go. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the only one that we saw. Not sure why Koala did pit, having started on the hard tyres, if I'm being honest, but perhaps he's just thinking that there might well be another safety car later on in the race. Quite often, safety cars do breed safety cars. Just about to start lap 6 of this race, and it's now Carlsberg in the lead from Eclipse. Ginger up into 3rd place, and that's pretty interesting because the Alfa Romeos didn't seem to enjoy last time around. They were 12th and 13th, Ginger and Jordi respectively, in Mexico, and Jordi's currently down in 11th, but Ginger doing a very good job in 3rd position.
Ginger's had a brilliant start as well, I believe, to this race, moving up 6 positions there. Obviously fortunate by some guys pitting, of course, but I believe he was 6th place beforehand, so he has made up quite a few positions from the start. And I know that Ginger is learning, he was learning no assist. He's probably a little bit more comfortable around this track, as it's obviously a track that you probably would have been doing a little bit more practice for, so he's probably a little bit more comfortable with this track. But also you can obviously see that some people enjoy some tracks and dislike others, but he's had a really good start, and his race pace is starting to show that it's really good in this tier, and he can be a threat in this tier if obviously he pulls off the consistent results, as we do have the safety car coming in this lap.
Yeah, I've just seen Cherry Tupai aggressively warming up his tyres. The Renaults have moved their way up into 7th and 8th place. That's 5 and 6 places gained respectively. He might find it a bit trickier on the restart on the hard tyres. He don't normally warm up quite as well as some of the others, so watch out for him. When is Carlsberg going to decide to drop the throttle and go? You can't catch up to the safety car, let's not forget, because the game will slow you down, and that does tend to cause all manner of chaos. And he's leaving it very late here to drop that throttle pedal. Yeah, he's gone at the apex of turn 9, and I think Eclipse and Ginger were pretty wise to that. So here we go, Ginger just runs slightly wide coming out of the final corner. So green flag racing once again. Carlsberg actually ended up pulling away quite a bit of a gap from Eclipse. Ginger, Hypes, Toxic right on the back of Hypes, and Hypes hasn't had the best exit coming out of turn 1. He's trying to close that line, he's shoving Toxic onto the grass. Toxic spins round, and that could easily be a big accident. Thankfully he is ghosted, and I think those two might be having words at the end of the race.
Svenberg's gone round. He's, I don't know what that was. He's gone up the inside of one of the AlphaTauris, which is Hypes as well. So Hypes is a bit of, I think it was Hypes anyway. It was someone like the AlphaTauri. It may have been Cyril in the Haas. I'm not sure which one it was, but Svenberg absolutely shafted round. It was a rather weird one, because Svenberg had the driver on the inside, but it was just so weird. It's like the driver on the outside just turned in on Svenberg, and Svenberg went spinning. It's a really weird one. I've never really seen that on this game happen, but if that was Hypes again, then he must feel a little bit under pressure here, because obviously he's just caused 2 incidents in a single lap, and if that was him, I think he'll be a little bit embarrassed as well, as he does have Pit Matt closing in on him.
Yeah, Pit Matt closing up to Hypes. Cherry Tupai, I said he might struggle on the restart being on the hard tyres. He's actually up into 4th place, so a bit like Mexico, he's working his way up the field. He's been around for a while and knows what he's doing. Carlsberg, though, great first lap from him, getting that gap up to 1.3 seconds. Jordi has pitted and put the hard tyres on. They will now get him towards the end of the race, barring any further safety cars or incidents. Toxic and Vandenberg down the back of the field as Pit Matt is gone down the inside, and Hypes is in the wall, and that's big front wing damage for the Alpha Tauri.
Yeah, that was a racing incident. That was not Pitmat's fault. He left him enough room. It was just an odd one again. I think Hypes just went into him, and he lost the car. Really, it looked more like. I think there was minimal contact, but I think it was just Hype's wheel spinning, and he's lost the car, and now he's down to 14. So, I mean, we've had a few incidents with Hypes in the last 2 laps, either for him or against him. But Pitmat takes 5th place. Nothing wrong with what happened either. So. The Renaults will progressively move on, so we'll see what happens now.
Yeah, we will see what happens. I think Hypes will be feeling a bit frustrated with how the start of this race is going. He wasn't showing the same pace that he had done in qualifying. Just seems to have been involved in a lot of incidents after the safety car. On board now with Cyril in 6th place at the moment, trying to close up to the back of Pitmat. Cyril has DRS, Pitmat does not at this moment in time, but you get to see Cyril not able to get close enough. And DRS trains always seem to be a feature on this Austrian circuit, and it might be even worse now that dirty air seems to have a bigger effect on this game.
Yeah, you can understeer. You've seen there Cyril going a little bit understeery through the corner. Not so much to lose him too much time, but you're a bit understeery. Some corners you even oversteer as well. You feel like you get a bit more wheel spin, but off the exit of corners, you can sometimes have the car on its side almost. And the understeer that you could get by sticking in someone's dirty air, it's really not worth it. Sticking there really for a long time. You need to make the moves nice and quick. Also, your engine heats up as well now on this game. Last game we didn't really see it as much. It heats up to around 136 degrees, and that slows you down as well on the straight as you lose, as obviously you lose RPM there through the heating temperatures of your engine. So it's a very difficult one, dirty air. You don't want to be stuck in it too long, but obviously you want to keep behind the car. So it's a very interesting one. I wonder if Cyril will go for moves on pit mats very, very soon.
Yeah, it might just get a bit trickier now because they're catching up to Cherry 2 by. So now Cherry is giving his teammate DRS as Black Phoenix and Fruitful battling coming out of turn 5 into turn 6. Fruitful down the inside. Is Black Phoenix able to cut back? No, he is not. So that's the swap there. Fruitful working his way up. He is currently in 9th position. Some of those who pitted early on, well, he's one of them obviously. He's doing a very good job at the moment. Lars currently in 8th place, so he's leading now out of those who have pitted and can go to the end, and he might be going for a move on his teammate at the moment. His teammate is a reserve, so maybe we won't see the same levels as teamwork as we normally would, although I don't think Decky might have much choice at the moment. He's got some great straight line speed though in that lead Mercedes.
He's going for it, and that's an interesting one. Nice and clean there. Can't really fault him for that. That was a really good move from Lars, to be fair. Rather late and everything, and unexpected from it's not from Cyril, from Decky, but I'm pretty sure it's not really a bad move at all. Good move from Lars, and he's up to 7th place, and he's now going to be chasing down Cyril, perhaps, who is still very, very close to the 2 Renaults here. But I think Cherry 2 Pie is doing a good job though in the lead of this train, as it will expand now, as you can see, all the way down to Black Phoenix, who's almost lost the car again there. So Black Phoenix not really finding the traction at all, and he might lose the position. Round the outside goes Koala. Had to be very difficult through there, and I think he has tapped a little bit, and Black Phoenix loses another position. And look at this now, Calsto is up behind him, but I think the DRS has aided him nicely there. But yeah, Black Phoenix struggling really on those hard tyres to find any sort of grip at all.
Yeah, interesting indeed. You would expect him to be doing pretty well on those hard tyres, because we see Fruitful and Lars seem to be doing well on them at the moment. Great pass from Lars into turn 3. Thankfully the 2 Mercedes didn't make contact like they did in 2016, and Lars is moving further up the field. He's got past Cyril here. Just seems to have dropped back a bit from pit mat at this moment in time. We have had a couple of pit stops on lap 11 as well. Eclipse and Toxic pitting from the softs onto the hard tyres, so that seems to be the chosen strategy now for a few of these guys. Eclipse down in 13th now, Toxic in 15th, so you can just see what pitting earlier has done for Fruitful. He's now 11 seconds ahead of Eclipse, only 8 seconds off the lead of this race. Calsper and Ginger they might have to go a bit longer on these soft tyres to put the mediums on and be faster towards the end.
Yeah, they may have to go, if they want to put the mediums on, they'll have to go, they'll have to come in this lap or next lap. I mean, it's an interesting one for Fruitful. He came in early, which is obviously the right decision. However, look at him, he's now about to make a move. He needs to be careful on these tyres, of course, and nurse them to the end. He goes down the inside there, and it should be the position. Yes, he does. 7th place there, as Decky moves down to 8th place. He's just not enjoying those hard tyres. Still has to make a pit stop, though. So let's not obviously put that out of the equation. But Eclipse now 11 seconds down on the net, well, not on the net race leader, but one of the race leaders in Fruitful up in 7th, who's caught up to Lars and is right behind him, of course, just a car in between them two. Interestingly though, for Toxic, obviously down in 15th, but I don't think he'll be too disappointed in that, because Calsper and Ginger have to realise that the undercut does work a treat for some people. I say it works a treat, but it looks like Toxic's nowhere near him, but for Eclipse especially, it should be good for Eclipse. Eclipse should be able to get past Calsper here, or at least challenge him. It's going to be very close between these two.
Yeah, Calsper has put the medium tyres on, so this is going to be close. Are we going to see a McLaren just popping out ahead of Eclipse? You can see the McLaren in the pit lane there from the onboard shot, and it looks like Calsper has just about got that position, and Eclipse already moving down. So you'd expect Calsper to pull away now that he's got the fresher medium tyres on. Eclipse might just have to play the long game here, just try to stay in contact for now and wait towards the end of the race, where you would expect him to be faster. So we have a new race leader then on lap 14. Don't think, with the greatest of respect, he'll be in the lead for long. Cherry 2-Pie and Pitmat will start to catch him up now, and of course he'll be coming into the pits to change his tyres as Lars gets past Pitmat up into 3rd position. He is not hanging about. He wants to have a chance at winning this race. It is just siving his way through the field as Ginger does come into the pits. That promotes Cherry 2-Pie into the lead, and this man we're on board with, Lars, the lead driver out of those who've made our pit stops.
Yeah, very, 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 very good from Lars, really, in the last few laps. Of course, making the moves when they count, and now he's into the net lead. We just need him to get past Cherry 2-Pie, who obviously is yet to stop in this race. So he's into the lead. However, look at Fruitful, he is coming now. There's only one car between them two, so Fruitful, who obviously one of the fastest guys in qualifying, looking to close it in on Lars, who started 6th. Fruitful would definitely want to make that move past him very quickly. Who knows where this race can go, because these two are both on hard tyres. They're not the freshest of hard tyres, and anything can happen really at this point.
Yeah, most certainly. Who knows how this race is going to end up at the moment. Cherry 2-Pie leading, Lars 2nd, Pitmat 3rd. Those haven't pitted. If you have a look at who has stopped, Cyril and Decky, the other two drivers who have yet to pit as well. We're expecting Koala, who is in 7th place and probably hasn't made the progress he'd have expected on those medium tyres. We are expecting him to have to pit again, but everyone else, when they come in, we're expecting that to be their one and only pit stop that they have to make in this race. Now, on board with Fruitful, we've seen Lars get past Pitmat pretty easily, as Calsper, fastest man on track, and you'd expect that on the medium tyres. Is Fruitful be able to get past Pitmat fairly easily as round? He's down the inside into turn 3, same place he got Cyril last time around. Not quite as easy this time, but it's ended up with the same result. That is now Fruitful into 3rd position, and he'll try to chase down Lars to get back into the net lead of this race. Calsper at the moment is just 9 seconds off the back of that pack, off second place man Lars, I should say, and he's on the medium tyre, so you'd expect him to close that up, but he does need to be a bit careful to make sure he's got something left to fight with at the end.
Yeah, Koala needs to nurse his tyres really if he wants to go to the end. He's in 7th place right now, of course. He's got a bit of free air now, but he does have Black Phoenix behind him, of course, chasing him down. We have seen Black Phoenix struggle on those hard tyres, but he's looking to make avenge of it now, and he's got Koala just ahead of him now. Is he going to send it into turn 3, I wonder? The Williams driver, as Koala goes a little wide there. That's another warning probably for him. There we go there, Black Phoenix is closing in, and he's going to take that inside line, and he's going to send it down the inside and that's a nice and easy move for the Williams driver, and nice and clean as well. Very good racing from the pair of them, and also Calzo as well, who looks to be eyeing up a move on Koala as well. Down the inside he goes, lock-ups for both of them, but it looks like Calzo's got the position, so Koala really starting to struggle on those medium tyres already.
Yeah, we are probably getting towards the point then when these hards are better than mediums, but after only 11 laps you would have expected them to maybe be in a bit of a better condition, but it looks like the same is true at the front of the field. Here we are then, Lars and Fruitful now right on the back of Cherry 2Pie. He won't be too worried about these two. He's not really racing with them. He's wise enough, he's been around long enough to know that he'll just be patient, but he'll want to stay in the lead for as long as possible. He's a racer, that is what racers do. He might not have too much choice though, as you can see, going defensive here slightly, then drifting over back towards the racing line, and I think he just knows that that might be the place done as Lars down the inside takes the lead of this race. Now, this could be crucial. How quickly can Fruitful get past Cherry 2Pie? Because you would expect Lars to be much, much faster at this point in the race. And it looks as though Fruitful may have to wait another lap as he just gives Cherry 2Pie a slight little nudge in the back there. Is he able to get alongside enough through turn 6? No, he is not. So Lars will be pretty happy with that. He's managed to get ahead at the halfway point of this race, because Fruitful is going to lose around half a second to a second at least behind the Renault.
This is more damaging for Fruitful. We've got we had a little bit of weaving there from Cherry 2Pie, a little bit of a dummy perhaps that he was going into the pits or not. Oh, Fruitful's got the yellow curb and he's round as soon as I say that, but that promotes a lot of other drivers. I think Black Phoenix would be the next best driver alongside Lars, but yeah, the pressure's got to him there. I think Fruitful, knowing that he has to get by just one more guy, and then he's home free with Lars to battle till the end of the race. But now he's now got to sit behind Kausper, who's pitted. Black Phoenix has pitted. I think Calzo pitted as well, and obviously Koala. But I reckon Koala will pit again. But yeah, not really what Fruitful would have wanted. But he is still ahead of Eclipse, which is a lucky thing, I suppose, for him. But now he's behind Kausper, Calzo, and Black Phoenix, who are all ahead of him now.
Yeah, we've just seen a great battle between Hideki, Pitmat and Civil. In the end, the Mercedes managing to get past both Pitmat and Civil. He is on the hard tyres in that Mercedes, so you would expect them to be better now at this stage in the race, and it won't be too long, I think, before Pitmat and Civil start thinking about a pit stop. They will want to go on perhaps another 2 to 3 laps just to make sure they can obviously get comfortably towards the end of the soft tyres, but watch out for those to get a fastest lap. Fastest lap rules in PSGL are the same as in F1. 1 point if you get into the top 10. The scoring system, though, for the points is slightly different. 16 for a win, then 12, 10, 8, 6, all the way down to 1 point for 10th place. As Calzo here, right on the back of Black Phoenix at this moment in time. Is he able to go down the inside into turn 3? Oh, he is, and he's just given Civil a little tap at the same time. He went very late on the brakes there. And I think fair play to Calzo. He did just hold back ever so slightly, but that's definitely cost Civil in that battle with Pitmat and Black Phoenix. He'll gratefully retake that 6th place that he had lost.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I didn't really see it. I saw it from Black Phoenix's point of view, which wasn't really the best view to see it from. It looked like Calzo just sent it down the inside of Black Phoenix, which was fine, but he probably just weren't really estimating that Cyril was there, and that's where the dirty air comes in again, perhaps, with Calzo, is that he probably got caught in the dirty air a bit, and that obviously engine braking doesn't really work on this game compared to last game, so he's obviously going to brake a little slower to the guys in front, and he was going to go wide there, and a little bit of a tap to Cyril did kind of a little bit of nerves towards Cyril, but I think Cyril is fine just for now, but I'm pretty sure he would not be happy with that one, since he was not far off Pitmat, and now he's going to have a little bit of pressure behind him for Black Phoenix and Calzo as well. But I am quite stunned that the Racing Point didn't actually get any damage from that, because it actually looked like quite an aggressive tap as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what it did to Cyril, as here we go, Calsper trying to go down the inside of Koala. He gives the Red Bull a bit of a tap, and now we're going to see what Calsper can do fighting his way through the field. He sort of ran away from the front at the start. He'll be hoping some of these guys get out of the way. Koala maybe pitting again, but definitely not yet. Calzo, Black Phoenix don't have to pit, and then Cherry 2Pie to Civil Doers. Koala's just ran slightly wide there, and Calsper, that's a gift for the McLaren driver. He moves up into 8th position as Cyril is into the pits on the medium tyres. So that now promotes Calsper up into 7th place. And I've got to say, Cherry 2Pie is doing a great job of just sticking in the DRS, sticking with Lars. That could help him towards the end of the race.
He's doing a very good job sticking with him. He'll be onto the softs as well at the end. I don't think that will really change a lot, as he's found a lot of time somewhere from Lars. Possibly just from the DRS, but it looked like he found quite a lot of time just towards the end there. He's closing in again, and this is crucial now for Cherry 2Pie, as he is going to be on these hard tyres probably for a few laps longer, but if he does come in the next 2 laps and stick on those softs, he could really be on for a podium in this race. I'm not sure how far down, I'll just check now how far down he would fall. He'd probably fall quite far down, probably to around 12th position, which isn't a terrible thing, 11th or 12th. Behind Ginger, but he will be on the fresher and the better tyres, so he will be looking to make the moves and maybe get a some good points, and possibly even a top 5 or even a podium if he is very fortunate, of course.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Calsper here, he's trying to get past Black Phoenix. Calzo has managed it a bit cleaner than he did before. Black Phoenix just getting a bit wobbly on the exit of turn 1, and that's given all that Calsper needs. The gap is opening up on the inside, and he will gratefully receive that. Down the inside goes Calsper. He's now up into 6th position. Calzo, his next target, and I'm sure they'll both be hoping that pit mat, Decky and Cherry 2Pie clear out of the way into the pit soon, as already Cyril catching and passing Vanderbroek. Nothing the Ferrari can do at this point in the race. Cyril up into 12th, and it won't be too long before he's on the back of Ginger as well. And Ginger on those medium tyres, he hasn't done as well as you would have expected him to do. He's not been able to catch up to Eclipse, which is a shame for him, because Ginger was looking really promising in the first stint, and it looks as though he might actually struggle to pick up any points from this race.
Yeah, it's still early days, and Pitmat very close to Calzo there. No real issue, but Pitmat into the pits, I was expecting that. Looking on board, his tyres are absolutely dead, and he was getting closed up massively by Calzo. Like you said about Ginger, he's on 11th right now, below Eclipse, but he will be ahead of Pitmat. But Pitmat on the new fresh soft tyres. Don't take the graphic as it says 23 laps old for me, but he is on fresh new softs, and same as Cyril as well. But he has fallen around 5 or 6 seconds behind, so if Ginger can just keep it calm on track, keep it consistent, he may be able to sneak in and get a point or even 2 points if he is ever so fortunate, say with Decky or the other, as Calso goes wide, and that is why Calsper coming through and sending it down his inside there.
So Calsper, 4th position, 5.6 seconds off the lead on the medium tyres though. How well will they last towards the end? How well will Lars's hard tyres last towards the end? Because they will have to do 30 laps by the time Lars finishes this race. Cherry 2Pie finally drops outside of DRS range, and I think part of that is because he is going into the pits and Decky is in, so that means everyone has now made their compulsory 1 stop, and Black Phoenix and Koala also coming in as well. I'm surprised about Black Phoenix going for another pit stop. I thought he'd have tried to make it towards the end, but he's deciding to go for the soft tyres, and as you said, Sam, they're not 24 lap old soft tyres. Codemaster said they might be fixing some of the timing glitches in the next update, but who knows what additional glitches they might add in at the same time. Now that the field's a bit more normal, Lars in the lead, Calsper second, and Calzo, we haven't really talked about him having a great result this race, but he's up to 3rd place all of a sudden.
Yeah, and he's made the stop as well. He's made his mandatory pit stop. He's been brilliantly so far in this race, and I think that's just fortune as well, obviously, because he made his pit stop under the safety car, I believe. Let me just check that. Yeah, he did make his pit stop under the safety car, so similar to Lars, and I think similar to Fruitful as well, but specifically Lars, Fruitful, maybe Eclipse as well. No, not Eclipse actually, but they'll have to nurse these tyres to 30 laps, which obviously we have seen on this game that there's more unpredictability when it comes to punches, and I think Lars will be just thinking about saving those tyres as much as possible. Same with Calzo, same with Fruitful, especially Fruitful because he spun already on those tyres, which has cost him quite a bit. But especially Lars and Calzo would be looking to save those tyres as much as possible to nurse them to the end.
Yeah, you just saw as we were coming down the straight from turn 1 to turn 3, a few little specks in the distance from the back of Lars, and that was because of Carlsberg and Calzo. So Lars has 5.5 seconds. He could probably afford to maybe start saving these tyres a little bit, as Pitmat has now got ahead of Vanderbrug. So Pitmat is in ninth. Cherry Tupai he's now in 7th position. You'd expect him to at least catch up to Ginger and maybe eclipse and Fruitful as well. So Cherry Tupai could still get a very decent haul of points here for the Renault team. Hypes is in the pits. He's down in last position at the moment after a promising qualifying. The race has definitely not gone to plan for the AlphaTauri drivers. We'll just have a look at some of the battles in the field at the moment. Eclipse has caught up to the back of Fruitful. So these two were battling at the start of the race towards the head of the field as Eclipse very late on the brakes taps Fruitful, and somehow neither one of them spun around.
Ooh, a little bit of lack of concentration there from Eclipse. He needs to be a little bit more careful on the braking there. Broke just way later than Fruitful, and again there braking a lot later. But I think interestingly he's just going to stick around for a little bit in the DRS, just going to stick behind him. I think he should save his overtake a little bit just to get that up a little bit more and then dive for it again. It looks like that the podium seems unlikely for any of these two, really, being 4 seconds off. But, I mean, who knows, but it does look unlikely.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of battles between those who've just come out on the soft tyres. Cyril to Pitmat, separated by 2.4 seconds, and Black Phoenix, he's not too far behind either. So this could be very interesting for the final points positions, especially as they are going to be being caught up to the back of Ginger, who must just see these cars getting closer and closer in his mirrors and thinking, oh no, I've got all these on soft tyres to hold off now for the final 9 laps of this race. Fruitful's thinking the same with Eclipse, and you can just see Eclipse, because his DRS is running low, less than 10%, he hasn't got that same electrical energy, and despite having the DRS there, didn't really catch up to the AlphaTauri. So you're right, Sam, he needs to start saving his ERS to have a chance, as Cherry Tupai now goes down the inside of Cyril, and that's for Renault back up into 7th position. But I'm sure Cyril will be having a look at him soon as well. Out in front, Carlsberg's got the gap down to 5 seconds, but with just over 8 laps to go, it's going to take some mighty driving from Carlsberg or a mighty tyre drop-off from Lars for the McLaren to take the checkered flag here.
Well, Lars has been obviously saving his tyres, it looks like. Maybe linking into the drop. However, Carlsberg has probably been pushing a lot more, trying to get the most out of those medium tyres. He's now down to 4.6, so he is closing 3 tenths per lap there. It looked like last week he gained around 3 or 4 tenths from it. There's Eclipse there making an easy move on Fruitful. Now he's got to defend from him. But yeah, I can't see anything happening in that battle. I can see something happening in this battle, and that is Fruitful re-overtaking Eclipse and up to 4th place again.
Yeah, Fruitful just dropping back there. I'm not suggesting that may have been intentional to ensure we got DRS on the run down to turn 2 and 3 as Eclipse sliding on those rear tyres. A bit surprising given that they're only 16 lap old compared to Fruitful's 23 lap old. As there we go, Cherry Tupai now ahead of Ginger. The Renault back into 6th place. Hype setting the fastest lap of the race, just for a bit of pride for himself at the moment, way down in last position. We've seen Koala manage to get past Vanderbrug, so maybe Koala will be trying to see if he can sneak a point in this race. Come up with 6 seconds off the points, and that is Pitmat, who is also on soft tyres, so that is going to be difficult for him. 30 out of 36. Interestingly, Fruitful has just picked up a penalty, so after we see how Eclipse does on the run down to turn 1, and again he's very late on the brakes into the back of Fruitful, again taps Fruitful and gets the move done. I don't think the AlphaTauri will be too impressed with that.
He was weaving there, he's obviously probably trying to clean his tyres, but also probably just weaving a little bit of frustration there. He'd be absolutely annoyed with Eclipse right there, who has pushed a pass in the more pushed a driver out the way to pass instead of pushing a car to pass, I suppose. But I mean, Fruitville will be unhappy with that, but he needs to focus now, get his head down, and come back at him, and maybe just settle it after the race. Obviously, moaning right now and getting angry right now will not do him bits. See, Lars picking up a penalty there, and we look at Kalspe. He's 3.7 behind Lars. Could penalties decide the win in this race, I wonder? And maybe could it be Calzo as well, sneaking his nose in, perhaps?
Well, we'll soon find out about the penalties as we're now on lap 31 out of 36. So let's have a check for top few drivers. Lars has now actually got 2 penalties at the moment. Kalsper, a clean run completely, pretty much at this moment in time. Calzo, 2 penalties and 1 warning away from another. So Kalsper's looking very good at this moment in time. Speaking of Fruitful trying to attack Eclipse, I think he's going to be much more concerned with other drivers trying to get ahead of him, because Cherry 2-Pie right on the back of Fruitful at the moment, and I'm surprised, because that is actually a straightforward pass. Before I make that point, Fruitful knows he can't fight that, and Cherry 2-Pie up into 5th. I'm surprised Cyril, Decky and Pitmat haven't been able to get past Ginger as easily as Cherry 2-Pie did.
I said this about his experience. I said this also about just his race pace shown, obviously, in Mexico. It's shown again. And Cherry 2-Pie just making the most out of the new fresh tyres that he's got. He's up to 5th place, and perhaps Cyril's just been stuck behind Ginger. And I really want to see if Cyril gets by here, but obviously I'm assuming Cherry 2-Pie has just made the move stick, and made them stick very quickly. And he's already just about out of DRS as well, Fruitful, so he's now going to be closing in on Eclipse there, and I mean, I seriously doubt it, but if he shows this pace for the last 4 laps, maybe he could start to threaten Calzo, and obviously penalties do play a part in these, in league racing compared to obviously real life, where you don't see it as often as Cyril does go for a lunge down the inside, and with that, obviously Calzo could be sitting off the sidelines. Maybe Cherry 2-Pie or Eclipse could still get a podium.
Yeah, we now see as Decky goes down the inside of Cyril. This is going to get very tasty indeed. Pitmat, he's got an absolutely fantastic view. It might be worth him just sitting back a bit like Yuki Tsunoda did in the F2 race and waiting for the carnage to happen in front of him. Somehow, after all that, Ginger's still in 7th place. He's doing an absolutely fantastic job. But this is, of course, just bringing Pitmat into it. Black Phoenix not too far behind either. A couple of laps ago we did see Vanderbroek pit in the Ferrari, so he's now on the soft tyres as Cyril in the wall. Cyril. Front wing broken at the worst possible part of the circuit, and he's retired from the race. No points for him in the Haas. Both Haas cars having trouble at that final corner at different points in this race, so that does promote Black Phoenix up into the points as Decky has got past Ginger now up into 7th for Cherry 2-Pie already alongside Eclipse, and he's got DRS coming down towards turn 4. This is going to be very close indeed, and I think, yes, the Renault has got the move done, so that is Cherry 2-Pie now up into 4th place. And if I have a quick check on his penalty situation, he could get the podium here very easily.
Well, he's on the soft tyres. The soft tyres are going to go a little longer now. And he needs to get rid of Eclipse, so he mustn't have Eclipse just behind him. He must get rid of him in this next lap or so. Eclipse is sticking with him. We've got Fruitful somewhere.
Yeah, Fruitful's gone off at turn 7 and 8, and that's dropped him well outside of the points. What was looking like a very possible win before the safety car, well, during the safety car period, now looks like nothing. And I'm wondering, is that a puncture? It is. It's a rear right puncture. So, well, where have we seen?
Here we go.
Where have we seen tyre trouble recently in an F1 race, I wonder? We've got a bit more here at Austria. 2 laps to go, pretty much for the leaders. Fruitful, his rear tyre is completely gone, and his is the same age as Lars's and Calzo's. I'm keeping a very close eye on the meters. They look intact at the moment on Lars, but Kalsper could end up winning this out on track. Fruitful has retired from the session in the pit lane, and I think if they know that's a puncture, they'd probably be going a bit more careful, the drivers in 1st and 3rd place at the moment.
This is nail-biting moments here for if anyone is cheering on Lars or Calzo, and it is obviously very, very nail-biting for the 2 drivers as well. It looks like the rear tyres are the places to look out for obviously punches. I'm not sure if Lars and Calzo are aware of the retirement of Fruitful was down to punches, but pretty sure they know very well that those tyres are not going to make it too much longer. But are they going to make it for the race? That's the main question. Calzo close on Calsper now, and look at that now. 3 seconds between Cherry Tupai and Calzo. So, like you said, a possible podium is definitely on the cards again for the Renault driver.
Yes, one Renault could be on the podium. Pitmat moves his way up into 7th place. I think a very important point that I'm just going to make about Fruitful getting that puncture is he did have that spin on those tyres. That won't have done the rears any good whatsoever, so that's probably why we've seen his tyres go earlier than Lars's and Calzo's, but there's still 1 and a bit laps to go for Lars, another 80 seconds or so until he gets towards the checkered flag. He'll probably be the first man across the line, but may not take the victory when penalties come into account, although Calsper's medium tyres, they won't be looking too great at the moment either, as he was the first guy really to put mediums on to try and go towards the end of the race. So here we go, Calzo on the back of Calsper with 1 lap to go, very late on the brakes from the Racing Point driver, just gets himself another penalty, and that pretty much makes it certain that Cherry Tupai will be on the podium here. Got some battles further down the field as well. Black Phoenix on the back of Ginger, who, as you said, Sam, he's just holding on to the points at this moment in time. DRS helping him stay ahead of Black Phoenix for now as he tries to move his way up through the field. Koala's 2-stop strategy, probably not the most conventional we expected around here, but because of retirements for other drivers, it has got him a 10th position as things stand, because who knows what could happen. But it's the final few corners for Lars. If he just keeps it nice and clean, doesn't do anything silly, it looks as though he'll be first across the line, but penalties will end up giving it to Calsper unless he's got one at the end that I have missed and not seen. So Lars, he takes the checkered flag here at Austria, but it's going to be Calsper who comes across the line, and he claims to 16 points. He is the winner of Season 26's debut race in F3. Cherry Tupai there in 3rd. Calzo, in the end, Black Phoenix actually taking 4th place.
Well, I think Black Phoenix, I think I deserve to say sorry to him really at the start, because I said that he could be quite disappointing at the start of the season, and he's had a smashing race really, considering that he's done the 2-stop as well, up to 4th place and just off the podium as well. I say just, but it's 6 seconds, but still to finish 4th place, that's brilliant. Look how close Cherry Tupai was. He was so close to beating Lars to it at the end, and maybe if he stuck those softs on a little earlier and perhaps got past the Racing Point of Eclipse, who I don't think got into the top 10 as well, he may have had the win here, Cherry Tupai. He would be kicking himself for that.
Yeah, in the end, Cherry Tupai's teammate Pitmat gets the driver of the day. Eclipse finished down in 10th, Cherry Tupai finished in 3rd. When they crossed the line, there was less than a second between them on track. That is how important clean driving is. For anyone who wants to get into league racing who's watching, that's where you've got to keep it clean, because one driver's on the podium, the other one just scraped a point. And Calsper, pole position he took, and he got the win, managing to work his way up through the field. Great drive from Lars on those hard tyres after pitting under the safety car to get second. And Cherry Tupai, the alternate strategy, got him a 3rd place. Black Phoenix, he also did 2 stops in the end, and he kept it clean. He gets 4th position. Pitmat, another clean drive from him. He finishes in 5th place, so a great race for Renault in the Constructors. Calzo was 6th, Decky 7th as the reserve in the Mercedes, Koala 8th, Ginger hung on for 9th place. Eclipse, 15 seconds of penalties dropped him down to 10th. Vanderburg just outside the points in 11th. Toxic 12th. Hypes 13th. Geordie setting the fastest lap in 14th. We saw Fruitful, that puncture causing his retirement towards the end. And Cyril, Jesper Barneveld, both the Hassers retiring from what was a very exciting Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, the Hassers again, I just want to make a quick mention about them. It was a very exciting Grand Prix. The Hassers, they look like they have potential again. And in the race again, they've both retired. They're both out of it, and that's not what they would like to hear. Geordie has had a poor race again, but at the end of the day, a brilliant drive for both the Renaults. Once again, from 12th and 14th to 3rd and 5th for Pitmat and Cherry Tupai there. But obviously, Casper won the day from pole position and obviously won the race as well, and drove a very, very good drive as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think there'll be a lot of talking points from that race. We saw the safety car early on, and it was interesting how not many of the front guys seemed to go for it, because let's not forget, Lars was a long way down at the back of the field when he decided to put them hard tyres on, and you might as well try something different when you're right down at the back. Fruitful tried it as well, and in the end he made that spin, didn't work out for him, and a puncture. Both AlphaTauri drivers definitely had the pace over one lap. Somehow they're going away from this race with no points.
Yeah, I think AlphaTauri would be gutted with themselves. Hypes, of course, falling down the field, with his qualifying time being good, but his race pace seemed very, very average, very poor from the AlphaTauri driver, and of course Fruitful as well. It looked like he had the pace. He could have gone on to win this race at first, and then obviously he had that spin which cost him probably even a single point in this race, of course, as he got a puncher with 2 laps remaining in this race. So both AlphaTauris would be absolutely kicking themselves that they didn't get at least something from this race, because their qualifying pace showed they definitely could have been on for really good results, but because of that, well, they're not getting any sort of result, and they're going to leave Austria here tonight with no points at all.
Yeah, no points whatsoever. And just reading in the driver chat, Lars came so close to getting no points from this race as well. His tyres were on 90% at the end of that race. Ginger also got a puncture that we didn't spot on stream at the end of that race. Kalsper's tyres were on 84%, and I know everyone moans at F1 for Pirelli, but I think we need this more often. Pirelli should just boom the softest tyres to every race. It just seems to create more drama and more uncertainty.
It does, but obviously you've got to think about safety as well. All these things about health and safety. It depends which way you look at it. Some people are like, yeah, health and safety, we need all that. We need to make sure that all our drivers are safe at all times. And other people are just like, it's fine having something like this. It just leads to more excitement. So I don't really see the point of making it safer, but obviously they need to make it safer and make sure that we don't have things what happened to Jules Bianchi, Antoine Hubert, or just these freak accidents we get. We still get them in modern Formula 1, Formula 2, any motorsport indeed. So at the end of the day, although if we like it or not, we have to agree that we kind of do need that sort of safety, and we need to keep improving the safety within our sport.
Yeah, most definitely a very important message there at the end, Sam, and a great race we saw today. Kalsper ended up taking the win from pole position. That makes it sound as though it was a straightforward race for him. I think it was anything but, and he'll have a chance to make it 2 out of 2 next time around. Another race where qualifying is so important. Round 2 will be at Hungaroring, Monaco, without the barriers. Make sure to check that out. Same time, same place, next Monday. There is one more round in Austria though to go because of the issues that Codemasters servers had last Tuesday. FP was unable to take place, so they will be having their round 1 tomorrow at Austria. Make sure to check that out on the PSGL channel, and you'll be able to check all the races on there as well in a few hours time. But from myself and Sam, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time around. Good night.